The Untold Story by John Lennon about the song Imagine. Liverpool, 1971. A city wrapped in industrial fog and working-class dreams. But our story doesn't begin there. It begins in a white room. In Tittenhurst Park, Berkshire, England. A room so white it hurt to look at. So empty it echoed with ghosts. John Lennon sat at a white piano. Alone. Outside, the English countryside stretched green and endless. Inside, everything was blank. Sterile. Waiting. This is where it happened. This is where the song that would change the world almost never existed. Because what nobody tells you about Imagine is this: John Lennon didn't want to write it. He was terrified of it. The year was 1971. The Beatles had been dead for a year. Not the men, the dream. And John? John was drowning. In fame. In expectations. In the weight of being a prophet when all he wanted was to be a man. Yoko sat in the corner of the white room, silent. Watching. She knew something the world didn't know yet. She knew John was about to write the most dangerous song of his life. A song that would make him a target. A song that would haunt him until his last breath. But first, he had to remember something he'd spent his whole life trying to forget. The white piano waited. The keys, untouched. And in the silence, you could almost hear it, the melody that would shake the world. But it wasn't ready yet. Because John Lennon had a secret. And that secret was about to destroy everything he thought he knew about music, about peace, about himself. This is the story they never told you. The story behind Imagine. And I promise you, nothing you think you know is true. The morning of March 12, 1971, started like any other morning at Tittenhurst Park. Except it didn't. John woke at 4 a.m. Sweating. Shaking. The dream again. Always the same dream. His mother, Julia. Standing in a garden that didn't exist. Singing a song he'd never heard. Imagine all the people. She sang in the dream. But the rest? Silence. Every night for 3 weeks, the same dream. The same incomplete melody. And every morning, John woke up terrified. Because Julia Lennon had been dead since 1958. Killed by an off-duty policeman driving drunk. John was 17 when it happened. The wound never healed. Now, 13 years later, she was visiting him in his sleep. Yoko found him in the kitchen at dawn, staring at nothing. The dream again? She asked. John nodded. Couldn't speak. Yoko sat beside him. Didn't touch him. Just existed in his space. This was their language. Silence that spoke volumes. She wants you to finish it, Yoko finally said. Finish what? The song she's been singing to you. John's hands trembled. It's not real. It's just my mind playing tricks. Is it? That question hung in the air like smoke. Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any of the exclusive content that's coming up. And while you're there, leave that powerful like, that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Later that morning, John walked the grounds of Tittenhurst Park alone. 72 acres of English countryside. Beautiful. Isolated. Perfect for hiding. That's what John had been doing since the Beatles ended. Hiding. From the press. From the fans. From the ghost of what he used to be. But you can't hide from your own mind. He found himself in the garden. The real garden, not the one from his dreams. And there, beneath an old oak tree, he saw something that stopped his heart. A piece of paper. Folded. Weathered. Like it had been waiting there for years. John picked it up with shaking hands. Unfolded it. And read words in handwriting he recognized immediately. His mother's handwriting. But that was impossible. Julia had been dead for 13 years. She'd never been to Tittenhurst Park. This house didn't even exist when she was alive. The note said, Imagine there's no heaven, Johnny. It's easy if you try. I'm not in heaven. I'm not in hell. I'm in you. Finish what we started. Mom. John's knees buckled. He fell to the ground, clutching the note. And for the first time since he was 17 years old, John Lennon wept. Not the controlled tears of a man who'd learned to hide his pain. But the raw, broken sobs of a boy who never got to say goodbye. The note shouldn't exist. Couldn't exist. But it was real. He could feel it. Smell the age on the paper. And in that moment, John understood something terrifying. The song wasn't just in his head. It was a message. From someone, or something, beyond this world. And it wanted to be born. That evening, John confronted Yoko. How long have you known? His voice was ice. Yoko sat in the white room, surrounded by her art. Calm. Unreadable. Known what, John? About my mother. About the song. About this. He threw the note on the white piano. Yoko looked at it. Didn't touch it. I found that note 3 months ago, she said quietly. In a book I bought at an estate sale in London. John's blood went cold. What book? Yoko stood. Walked to a shelf. Pulled out a small, leather-bound journal. Handed it to John. The cover read, The Grapefruit Diaries, Julia Stanley, 1957. Julia Stanley. His mother's maiden name. This is impossible, John whispered. Open it, Yoko said. John's hands shook as he opened the journal, page after page of his mother's handwriting. Poems. Song lyrics. Thoughts. And there, on page 47, he found it. I had a dream last night about my son. He was older, famous, broken. He was sitting at a white piano in a white room, trying to write a song about peace. But he couldn't finish it because he was too angry. Too hurt. So I'm writing it for him now, in 1957, so that when he needs it, when the world needs it, it will be waiting. Below that, the complete lyrics to Imagine. Every word. Every line. Written 14 years before John would sit at that white piano. Written by a woman who would be dead within a year. John dropped the journal like it was on fire. This isn't real. This is some kind of sick joke. Is it? Yoko's voice was gentle. Or is it exactly what it appears to be? My mother couldn't have known about this room. About this piano. About you? Yoko interrupted. About who you'd become? About what the world would need from you? John backed away. You're saying my dead mother wrote Imagine in 1957? I'm saying your mother loved you enough to leave you a gift. Even after death. That's insane. Is it more insane than the dream you've been having every night for 3 weeks? John had no answer. Because deep down, in a place he didn't want to acknowledge, he knew Yoko was right. The song was real. The message was real. And his mother, somehow, impossibly, had known. There's more, Yoko said softly. She turned to the last page of the journal. There, in Julia's handwriting. When you find this, Johnny, you'll want to run. You'll want to pretend it's not real. But you can't run from destiny. This song isn't just for you. It's for everyone who's ever felt lost. Ever felt broken. Ever wondered if peace was possible. Write it. Record it. Let it save the world the way I couldn't save you. I love you. Always. Mom. John Lennon, the man who'd faced screaming crowds and ruthless critics, who'd challenged religions and governments. Stood in that white room and realized he was terrified. Not of the song. But of what it meant. If his mother had really written this in 1957. If she'd really known what was coming. Then nothing in his life had been random. Everything, the Beatles, the fame, the pain, the loss, had been leading to this moment. To this song. And John wasn't sure he was strong enough to carry that weight. May 11, 1971. Ascot Sound Studios, Berkshire. John had finally agreed to record Imagine. But he'd made Yoko promise one thing: nobody could know about the journal. Not Phil Spector, the producer. Not Klaus Forman on bass. Not Alan White on drums. Nobody. As far as the world would know, Imagine was just another John Lennon song. But John knew the truth. And the truth was eating him alive. The session started at 2 p.m. By 2:15, John had already walked out twice. I can't do this, he told Yoko in the hallway. Yes, you can. Every time I sit at that piano, I see her. I hear her voice. It's like she's in the room with me. Maybe she is. John grabbed Yoko's shoulders. Don't say that. Don't make this worse than it already is. John. Yoko's voice was steel. Your mother gave you a gift. The least you can do is honor it. Those words hit John like a slap. Because she was right. He went back into the studio. Sat at the piano. Closed his eyes. And began to play. The melody came easily. It had been in his head for weeks. But when it came time to sing, John's voice cracked. Not from lack of skill. From emotion. Because as he sang Imagine There's No Heaven, he could feel Julia in the room. Could feel her hand on his shoulder. Could hear her voice harmonizing with his. Phil Spector, in the control room, noticed something strange. Is someone else singing? He asked the engineer. No, just John. Then what's that other voice I'm hearing? The engineer checked the levels. There's nothing on the tracks except John's vocal. But Phil wasn't imagining it. On the playback, if you listened carefully, you could hear it. A woman's voice. Faint. Almost ghostly. Singing harmony. Nobody mentioned it. But everyone heard it. John sang the song 3 times that day. Each time, the mysterious harmony got stronger. By the third take, it was unmistakable. A woman's voice, clear and beautiful, singing alongside John. Phil Spector stopped the session. John, who's in the booth with you? Nobody. Then who the hell is singing? John looked directly at Phil. My mother. The studio went silent. Your mother's been dead for over a decade, Phil said carefully. I know. Then how? I don't know, Phil. I don't know how. But she's here. She's been here the whole time. Phil Spector had worked with dozens of artists. Had seen strange things in studios. But this? This was different. Do you want to stop? Phil asked. John shook his head. No. We finish it. Today. The final take of Imagine was recorded at 11:47 p.m. 9 hours after they'd started. When John sang the last line, I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one, something happened that nobody could explain. Every light in the studio flickered. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. And for just a moment, everyone in that room swore they saw her. Julia Lennon. Standing behind John at the piano. Smiling. Then she was gone. The recording was perfect. But John Lennon walked out of that studio a changed man. Because he'd just recorded a song with his dead mother. And nothing would ever be the same again. 3 days after the recording session, John Lennon stood in his home studio at 3 a.m. Drunk. Holding the master tape of Imagine in one hand. A lighter in the other. Yoko found him there. Silent. Swaying. What are you doing, John? Ending this. Before it destroys me. You're going to burn it? I have too. His voice was broken. This song isn't mine. It was never mine. I'm just the messenger. And I don't want to be the messenger anymore. Yoko moved closer. Slowly. Like approaching a wounded animal. Why are you really afraid, John? Because. He spun to face her, tears streaming. Because if I release this song, everyone will know. They'll know I didn't write it. They'll know I'm a fraud. You're not a fraud. I'm a puppet. My dead mother wrote this song 14 years before I even thought of it. What does that make me? Human, Yoko said simply. It makes you human. John laughed bitterly. The great John Lennon. The genius. The revolutionary. Turns out I'm just channeling my dead mom's diary. Is that what you really think? What else am I supposed to think? Yoko took the tape from his hands. Gently. I think, she said, your mother knew you'd be the only one brave enough to sing these words. She knew the world wouldn't listen to a housewife from Liverpool. But they'd listen to you. That's not fair to her. Life wasn't fair to her, John. She died at 44. Never got to see you become who you are. But she gave you this. This one perfect song. And you want to burn it because your ego can't handle not being the sole creator? The words cut deep. Because Yoko was right. John's fear wasn't about the song being his mother's. It was about admitting he needed help. Even from beyond the grave. What if people find out? John whispered. Find out what? That you loved your mother? That she inspired you? That's not a weakness, John. That's the most human thing about you. John looked at the lighter in his hand. Then at the tape in Yoko's hands. I'm scared, he admitted. I'm scared this song is bigger than me. It is bigger than you. That's the point. John sat down on the floor. Exhausted. She wrote in the journal that this song would save the world. What if it doesn't? What if I fail her? Yoko sat beside him. You can't fail someone who's already given you everything. Your mother didn't write this song to put pressure on you. She wrote it to set you free. Free from what? From having to be perfect. From having to have all the answers. From carrying the weight of the world alone. John was quiet for a long time. Then he said something that surprised even himself. I want to tell people. About the journal. About her. Are you sure? No. But I think she'd want people to know. Not for her glory. But so they understand that inspiration can come from anywhere. Even from people we've lost. Yoko smiled. Then we'll tell them. When the time is right. But the time would never come. Because 2 weeks later, something happened that changed everything. The journal disappeared. June 3, 1971. John woke to find Yoko in tears. It's gone. What's gone? The journal. Julia's journal. I put it in the safe last night. This morning. Nothing. They tore apart Tittenhurst Park. Searched every room. Every drawer. Every corner. The journal had vanished. Like it had never existed. The only proof they'd had, the only evidence that Julia had written Imagine in 1957, was gone. John called the police. But what could he tell them? That his dead mother's prophetic journal had disappeared from a locked safe? They'd think he was insane. Maybe he was. For 3 days, John spiraled. Convinced someone had stolen it. Convinced it was a conspiracy. But Yoko had a different theory. What if it was never meant to stay? What are you talking about? What if the journal was only meant to give you the courage to record the song? And now that you have, it served its purpose? That's insane. Is it? Think about it, John. The journal appeared exactly when you needed it. Gave you exactly what you needed. And now it's gone. Maybe that's how it was always supposed to be. John wanted to argue. But he couldn't. Because deep down, he knew Yoko was right. The journal had been a gift. A message. And messages aren't meant to be hoarded. They're meant to be shared. So what do we do now? John asked. We release the song. We let it do what it was meant to do. Without proof? Without being able to tell people about Julia? The song is the proof, John. When people hear it, they'll feel her in it. They'll feel the love. The hope. The truth. That's all the proof they need. September 9, 1971. Imagine was released to the world. And the world changed. Within weeks, it became an anthem. For peace. For unity. For hope. People from every country, every religion, every background sang it. And they felt something. Something they couldn't quite name. But John knew what it was. It was Julia. Her love. Her vision. Her gift. Living on through a song that would outlive them all. December 8, 1980. New York City. John Lennon's last day on Earth. That morning, he gave his final interview. The interviewer asked him about Imagine. It's your most famous song, the interviewer said. What inspired it? John smiled. That sad, knowing smile. My mother, he said simply. Your mother? Julia? Yeah. She gave me the idea. A long time ago. But she died in 1958. You wrote Imagine in 1971. I know. John's eyes were distant. But some gifts take time to unwrap. What do you mean? John was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that would haunt everyone who heard the interview. I think the people we love never really leave us. They live on in the things we create. In the words we speak. In the songs we sing. My mother gave me Imagine because she knew the world would need it. And she knew I'd be the one to give it to them. Do you think she'd be proud? John's eyes filled with tears. I hope so. God, I hope so. That night, at 10:50 p.m., John Lennon was shot outside the Dakota Building. His last words, as he was rushed to the hospital, were, I'm going home. Some say he meant Liverpool. Others say he meant heaven. But Yoko knew the truth. He meant he was going to Julia. To the woman who'd given him the song that changed the world. To the mother he'd been searching for his entire life. Epilogue. In 2001, Imagine was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. In 2004, it was ranked number 3 on Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. It's been covered by hundreds of artists. Sung at protests, at memorials, at moments of global crisis. And every time someone sings it, they feel something. A presence. A warmth. Like someone is listening. Someone who loves them. Someone who believes in them. Julia Lennon never got to see her son become a legend. But she gave him the words that would make him immortal. And somewhere, in that white room where songs are born, she's still singing. Still hoping. Still imagining a world where we all live as one. The journal was never found. But the song? The song will live forever. Just like Julia knew it would. If this untold story about the mysterious origins of Imagine moved you, subscribe and leave a like. Share this with someone who needs to hear about the invisible connections between love and art. What song has changed your life? Tell me in the comments.